最初に言っておくが、余計な真似はするなよ。おいちょっと気をつけてくれよ。
見て見て、これ面白い。グレー。
こちら尾藤浅る、もうじきサーバールームに着くぞ。
あなたたちに新しいお仕事。
Fire!
れ
お前
それはど
お前
それ
What's up, man? Sorry, I can't always respond right away. This game requires a lot of focus. You have so many options, the enemies can really mess you up really quickly. That's what I like about this game. It's fun to just get all the stress out. Alright, so final boss gauntlet here. Fight Chidori. I don't remember this fight very well. Ah, shit. Gotta wait for her to do the kick combo and then hit her in the back. No! How did I get hit by that? She's gonna start doing rider kicks now. Alright, clock up. There is an achievement for beating it. I actually have done it before. I've done it multiple times, actually. It's not as hard as it looks, mostly because you have to, one of the last updates you did before this one, when it went full release, is that when you guard break an enemy that has an armor bar, then you get a health power-up. So a lot of that fight is just kind of staying on them, keeping some of them off the camera, and then just trying to break their guard. That way you can cover any mistakes. You're not going to be able to combo them to death. You can definitely do a lot of damage off a guard break, but ideally you want to use her her super mode, the big power geyser that she does. That does a lot of guard damage. that fight, I have to say, is like one of the only like scripted fights I've ever really enjoyed, because it actually is very fun to try to finish it. And because of the health mechanic, it actually is kind of fun to try to do it instead of have it be like borderline impossible like it usually is in these kinds of games. No, this attempt isn't going to go anywhere. Nah, gotta get my clock up out in time. You have to save up your overclock because he can't be killed unless he's in it. Or rather, if you're in it, that's the only way he takes damage. I'm pretty rusty too. I haven't played in a couple months. That's what makes him a lot harder than the other bosses. You can't. Your aggression is not rewarded as he does that like Batojutsu attack, and you just can't. You can't really get away from it unless you guard at like the perfect time. This is considerably harder on hard mode than normal mode, that's for sure. See, that's what... Can't brush him down. Ah, fuck, that was my fault. Let's go ahead and reset this. You can kill this boss really fast, but I'm not like I've lost all my skill, but I haven't played it in a couple months. This was usually the boss that would kill my speedrun attempts that I'd mess up. Wasn't able to rider kick through that. Can probably get some extra damage on him there. That's what's annoying, man, when he does it like point blank. And he does it twice too, so even if you get the first one, you're gonna get hit by the other one. There we go. That's how it's supposed to go. You have to like kind of you can skip the scripted part. If you guard break him at the right time and you don't let him recover, then he won't heal. That was the speedrun strat I had for this when I was speedrunning this game for a while. But if you mess it up, there's a very high chance that you will die because you won't have any meter. Yeah, all the Western stuff was very standard, disappointing fare. Just pretty graphics, all CG, no gameplay. I'm not about that stuff at all. Show me what it is I'm supposed to be actually pre-ordering. Don't show me a bunch of, you know, CG stuff that you outsource to some random studio. Like, that doesn't get me to buy the game. Show me what the actual video game is. Oh, cool, I got the Spy Must Die difficulty. I haven't really seen too much that I'd buy. The new Battletoads looks terrible. Bleeding Edge, I am kind of interested in it because it's kind of like a spiritual successor to Anarchy Reigns, but man, those character designs are terrible. They look like they got like random Tumblr people to design them. They look really bad. They don't have any appeal at all. They all look weird. They don't need to be like Bishonen characters or like pretty girls or anything, but they should look like interesting, and they look all really weird. I can't really think of what else I saw I really wanted to play. Tales of Arise, obviously. I'm a big Tales fan, so I'll be getting that. They just need to talk more about it. I don't really care about the story. I just want to know like what the mechanics are, and they really didn't show much. They only showed like 5 seconds of gameplay. The only thing I was really able to dissect from it is that it seems to have universal dodge canceling, which a lot of people have really wanted. Although, the people that asked for it clearly didn't play the Xillia games because that had it. That was like the best version of it right there. You had backstep and around step cancels. The Square Enix, I mean, I wasn't really paying attention to it. I'm not really a Final Fantasy fan, so that game is kind of whatever to me. I'm also really skeptical that they're gonna be able to release those other episodes in like a respectable time frame. If that thing is like 80 gigs or whatever, if it takes up 2 Blu-ray discs, unless they're like really far along into the other one, or they have like another team working on it, that shit's gonna take forever. And what's worse about it is a lot of people aren't thinking about is that like they're already at the end of the life cycle of the generation. There's considerably less like AAA games coming out because they're all shifting focus to the new hardware. So them like not having a concrete plan or date for like how the other episodes are going to work for that game, that would really concern me as a Final Fantasy fan. I would be far more like interested in that game as a Final Fantasy fan if it was on PC from launch, because that way, you know, you wouldn't have to shell out like $500 to keep playing it. And it's painfully obvious they're going to like remaster it later on. The PC port's probably going to be late. You probably would need a beast computer to run that at 60 FPS, but still, it would probably be, wouldn't cost as much as like having to buy a whole new console to play it. It's not like the PS4 is gonna like keel over and die anytime soon, but I don't know, this late in the generation, releasing something that's not a complete game, that just seems kind of off to me. I understand that the scope of that game is crazy, you know, what little I know about Final Fantasy VII, but alright, let's try out DMD. You only get 3 hit points, damn. That's actually going to be pretty difficult. It's definitely going to be revolving around guard breaks and stuff. I don't know how much the enemy arrangements change. don't think I got the unlimited DT. You get that later on. I think after you finish this mode, you get the unlimited clock up bar. I'm basically holding out for Nintendo to have some really good stuff. Like, show me Bayonetta 3. I already knew from the start the only one I was really going to be interested in was the Nintendo one. Oh, the Bethesda one is always a train wreck. I don't even think people even like their games. They just like to watch the people get excited for them and then they come out barely functional. It's happened time and time again. I don't know why Fallout 76 got so much attention for being broken. All their games barely work. I even joke about it at their conferences, for Pete's sake. They're using like an ancient engine that barely works. And their games have so many variables that they're just like impossible to test. I never watch their conferences. I don't care about any of the games they make, and even if I did, I wouldn't really have any faith in them working like they're supposed to. Ah, get me out of my charge. Yeah, but all their stuff is broken. I don't get why people were expecting that one to be any different. None of their games ever work. It's always... Somehow it's always a big deal that whatever game they're releasing is broken. I never really understood why. I mean, it's not the first time it's happened. I don't get why it's so shocking when it's something that repeatedly happens and has been for, like, as long as they've been around, really. They're known for games with, like, great narrative and stuff, but the gameplay and the stability of the games are just really bad. And it's basically just a matter of, you know, is the crazy narrative and customization and stuff worth the game barely working? And for a lot of people it obviously is, but they're kind of getting called out for it more, which is a good thing. They're obviously not my kind of games, but I understand why people like them. I just don't get why people get so shocked when they release something and it's broken.
マナーがなってない。
I don't know. I was pretty livid that I heard that they announced a freaking mobile Commander King game that's like some typical like mobile turn-based garbage or whatever it is.
おいこら。
Like, as somebody who's in his 30s, that definitely pisses me off. I grew up with those games. I'm pretty sure they could have gotten like any random like 2D developer, 2D indie developer to make a Commander King game, and it wouldn't even cost that much money. I don't get who the audience for it is. Like, the people who hate mobile games are the exact same audience and age demographic that played Commander Keen. It's one thing when they do it with like Diablo and stuff. Obviously, there's a market for a mobile kind of Diablo game, but Commander Keen, like, anybody who played that game has to be over 30 by now.
お
Like.
いこら。
Or like maybe 28 or 29 at the youngest. Those are the people that don't really like mobile games because they're hardcore gamers. So I don't get who that game is for. Just the principle of it pisses me off. You know, something like this Gaia, you know, that game is destroying the Nipponichi Japanese branch. Like, I can understand why that game is made. Like, this guy has never really had, you know, dexterity gameplay. It's basically just clicking on menus and stuff. So that's the kind of game that would work great for mobile. But when you take something that is beloved like Commander Keen, pretty much anybody who grew up with a DOS computer played that game, and you make it a mobile game, and the only people who would care about it in the first place are people in their 30s anyway. Who is it for? That's what I don't get. Feels like they're really out of touch to do something like that. I didn't clock up. That was my fault. This is definitely ramping up the difficulty. I mean, you can really only make 2 mistakes. You have to rely on a health box or a soda machine being nearby.
おいこら。どう。
Oh yeah, that's another thing about Fallout 76 as well. They're basically trying to get people hyped up for things that should have been in the game from the start. That does happen a lot in video games now. You know, games are released like half-finished, barely functional, and suddenly it's hype when they fix it, even though it should have been like that in the first place. They're charging you, you know, AAA game price for it. It should work. I like the people that say that gamers are entitled for wanting games to constantly be updated, and it's like, well, that's a self-inflicted problem that the game industry has caused themselves. And like, of course people expect updates when they release, like, buggy and broken and half-finished. And they're not even, like, funny bugs either. They're like, straight up the game won't work, or it crashes, or the optimization is so bad you need, like, a quantum-powered PC to play it. Like, that's not gamers being entitled, that's developers failing to deliver what they advertise, and expecting us to foot the bill for it. You know, as much as I want Virgil DLCs as anybody else, like, DMC as a game works fine. It functions. It doesn't need any more updates. It would be nice if it had them, sure, but the game actually works as intended. Like, it doesn't need a content roadmap or anything like that. It's a functional video game. You know, it's like the classic games and stuff were built with, like, they're like coated with, like, Swiss tape, or like Scotch tape. But the bugs they have are not really things that you would notice unless you're like a speedrunner or something and you're trying to, like, comb through every line of code to find broken stuff to complete the game faster. Those games are very playable from start to finish. It was very rare that there was any kind of major issue that would, like, cause a recall or for them to, like, redo the game or something. I can really only recall one, the Turok 2 for N64. I remember they had to do, like, a full recall for that because there was, like, some fatal bug, but it never happened back then. And now it's, like, commonplace. You buy something at launch, it's basically like Russian roulette with your money. The game might work. It's not like before where it always worked. Yeah, that whole idea really pisses me off. I'm like, of course the games are constantly updated. That's their fault for doing that, for not releasing them finished. I'll have, like, DLC planned for a game, like, before it even releases. Or the game comes out and you literally can't play it. Like, of course it needs to be constantly updated. It's not a functional product. A lot of the updates and features and stuff are kind of just like a way to soften the blow for people who bought the game, believed in it, and then it doesn't work. These things have such weird hitboxes. It's like you can be standing, like, right next to them and it just doesn't, your attacks just don't connect. Ah, shit. Hold on. Alright, these guys gotta go. Not good.
ちょっと疲れた。よし。
じゃあレッツよし。
This game's so awesome, man. I love this game. This is one of the best character action games I've ever played, really. And just because it doesn't have, like, AAA multi-million-dollar graphics doesn't mean it's not a good game. It's very fun to just turn on and play. It does a really good job of making sure you get that feedback when you pull off a fight. Not like that last one. That was a pretty sloppy fight. When you pull off a really good fight, the game really makes you feel good. That's one of the best things about the genre in the first place. A lot of the games really don't have the satisfaction this does. Oh, that juicy hit stop! That was sick. Wow. game it plays differently from other character action games in that once you get next to something, they're basically defenseless. It's mostly about just like managing all the shit that's being thrown at you. I guess some people don't like that. It definitely can be frustrating sometimes, but the game does give you a lot of ways to deal with the projectiles, and it definitely rewards playing well and having aggression, paying attention as well. You need a lot of focus to play this game. It's kind of an interesting take on a common complaint people have about character action games where the enemies are combo bags. In this game, you're never really safe. I mean, the only time you're really safe is like during the super power geyser. Not even an overclock. Like if you clock up and they're about to hit you, you still get hit, and it takes out like a lot of your time. And you can't really tank hits in this game. It's even on the easiest difficulty, you still only have 5 hit points. So it's not like other games where your health bar gets to like this crazy length and nothing really matters anymore. So it adds kind of a new dynamic. It's like basically once they're in the air, unless they're a boss, they're basically dead if you can chain things together well. But everybody else is going to be firing at you at the same time, so you have to learn how to use your options to kind of control them. Either clock up or use the super power geyser, or if you're in this new game plus mode, you can tag out whenever you want. That's what makes this game really fun, the tag mode. When I was beta testing this, I fought for him to add this, because it was originally something that you could only use in the final level. Because there's 2 campaigns, and they're basically like combined in the narrative. So this character's campaign is the ending of the game, and that's at the point where they actually team up and you can tag between them. It was initially locked to that, but we fought to get him to make it an unlockable. And I'm really glad he did. I wouldn't have played this game as long as I have. I have like almost 60 hours on this game. I wouldn't have played it as much if it didn't have that. It adds a cool dynamic, and there really aren't that many other character action games at all that let you tag out characters. The only ones I can really think of is Onichan Bara, and that's kind of more of a Musou character action hybrid. It definitely has worse enemies than this game, though. The enemies in that game don't really put up much of a fight. But it does have kind of a similar design, where if you're playing really aggressive, nothing's going to be able to touch you. But it's really hard to get to that level where you can constantly pay attention. It's just in this game, it's harder because the enemies actually attack, and most of their attacks are ranged, so you have to pay attention to laser pointers and stuff, and try to prioritize enemies. It's very fun to play once you get into the zone. I haven't really played a game that lets me get into the zone as often as this does. Yeah, Tales of Arise looks decent, but as somebody who's been playing Tales games for like almost 20 years, I definitely need to see more. Problem with Tales games is they always regress with the mechanics. They'll have something that works really cool, it works well, it's a fun, satisfying mechanic, and then they discard it and they start from scratch again. And they've done that countless times now. They need to find something that works and stick to it and iterate on it and improve it. Like, even if this one is like a really great game and everybody likes it, both the journalists and just casual people and hardcore fans like me, there's no guarantee any of that stuff's gonna stick. That's always been the problem with Tales. A lot of people really like the Graces system because it's easier to get into, but the hardcore players pretty much hate it because it basically stifles a lot of the creativity and options you have because everything is locked to a tree. And Berseria fixed it to a degree. You can customize your tree, and you do get the item that lets you use 4 moves at will, and that definitely did fix it to a degree, but you were still very limited by the tree, so I'm interested to see how this one's going to work. Or is it actually going to be like True Freedom, or is it going to be mapped to a tree again? And my level of play is deteriorating. It's like midnight now. I'm gonna get to the diamond fight, which is shortly after this, and then I'm gonna stop for today. I will stream the direct tomorrow. It'll be on Twitch, not here, because I don't know what the rules are for restreaming on here. I think you're only really given permission to do that on Twitch. And I'm pretty excited for it. I hope there's gonna be some Bayo 3 news. I'll probably have some other niche stuff I really like as well. I actually have like some money saved up in case they shadow drop something tomorrow. Last time they did that was the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle, and that was a kind of left field thing. I bought that instantly.
はり
This game's so awesome, man. I just wish more people would play it, and I wish they would port it,
我ながら
allow
完
more
璧な
people
段
to
取り
play it. It definitely is. It seems like it's pretty demanding. I was playing it earlier for my my video, which should be going up in about a minute now, and it was fine. But it seems like streaming kind of bogs down my PC a bit. That's my only concern with them porting it. Are the current consoles strong enough to do it? Feel like they would need to really work with it a lot and get it optimized, at least for the Switch, which is probably where this would sell the most. I think the PS4 crowd would be a lot less accepting of this game because it's not up to current like graphical standards, but actually playing it is very fun. It looks great in motion. It's mostly just in the cutscenes it looks very amateurish because it's made by one guy. But the story is not really why you're going to be playing this game anyway. It is very funny. It doesn't take itself seriously, but it's not the highlight of the game in general. It's mostly just how well it plays. Anyway, that's enough Assault Spy for today. Maybe after the direct I'll try to finish the rest of this playthrough. Because then I'll have the Infinite Super Meter. And that'll be fun to mess around with. I actually want to check and see if I got the hard mode Bloody Palace. Yeah, I don't know how to get the other difficulty for this. Oh, I guess it's just already there. Huh. Anyway. There was a Bloody Spell update as well. I would play that, but a lot of the stuff they added just straight up doesn't work. They said that there's like new moves and things like that, and none of that stuff is in the patch right now. I did play the new mode, it was quite fun, but the rewards are very lackluster. I was more interested in having new moves and stuff. So I will be on Twitch, not here, because I don't want to get banned for streaming the Nintendo Direct to 5 viewers. I'm just going to stream it on Twitch where it's already officially allowed. I'll be streaming the Direct. I have pretty high hopes there'll be something I want to play. I know they'll deliver a lot more than Microsoft did. Yeah, the Speed Brawl update, there's no patch notes for it. That's why I haven't covered it yet. I talked to them in the Discord and they said that they'll post it soon. I don't know why why it's taking so long. Like, if you want people to come back to your game and buy it and play it, then you should tell people what's fixed. But I did play a little bit earlier today off camera. It has like a versus mode. I think they did some balance changes, but I don't know the game well enough to really dissect all that. They did add some new items as well. The gearing and the customization seems to be a lot better. I definitely noticed some stuff that I hadn't seen before. So that's good, because the items in the game were very boring. It was mostly just, you just pick whatever the highest numbers were, which is never really interesting itemization or customization. But I'm going to wait for a patch note before I really get into that. Anyway, I will be on in the morning. I'll see you guys then. Let me see if I have any Twitch viewers. Oh, I actually do have a couple Twitch viewers. Welcome. I'm going to go ahead and send the Twitch viewers somewhere else. Let me see who's on. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and host this guy. He's doing Katana Zero speedruns. It looks pretty cool. I was definitely not really on board with that game, but seems like it's better now that you can skip the cutscenes. Hey, JD Lightside, can you mind like giving me a like a screenshot of those patch notes? I would like to play that game more again. Seems like they want to fix it, but I want to know exactly what changed. If you could send me that on Steam or Twitter or Discord or whatever. Speaking of which, let me give a Discord link. You can talk to me in there. I would really appreciate if you could do that for me tonight. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and host this Katana Zero speedrunner. I'll see you guys later.